Thank you. Okay, this is the Redevelopment Agency, or RDA, of Tooele City, meeting in a business meeting Wednesday, March 20th. The hour is 7:41. We are meeting in the Tooele City Hall Council Chambers located at 90 North Main and also streaming on the Tooele City YouTube channel. The first item on our agenda is a roll call. Board Member McCall.
Present.
Board Member Hanson.
Present.
Board Member Brady.
Present.
Board Member Goches.
Present.
I am Board Member Manzione. I'm also present. Next item is a budget discussion of long-term debt, and this will be presented by Shannon Wimmer, the Finance Director.
Good evening, Council. As most of you are aware, the RDA will be sunsetting in fiscal year 25. So as we have been preparing for that event, we have been meeting specifically about the debt payoff for the RDA and how that's going to look, as we no longer will be bringing in specific increment for the RDA. So tonight we have just some long-term debt payoff discussion that we would like to present to you. We have met with the mayor and the RDA representatives, and they've come up with kind of a unanimous proposal of how we would like to handle that long-term debt. So we have a proposal, I guess, that we would like to give to the board and get your feelings to see what you would like us to bring back to you. So this first part of this sheet that I passed out, this is just listing the debt of the RDA. So the first part, we have the 2012 TATC bond. That's actually right now carried within those four funds that I listed there for you: the general fund, the park impact fund, the road C fund, and the RDA fund. But as you know, most of those are were built for economic development and part of the RDA. So that total bond outstanding right now is $3,660,000. In this proposal that we'll get to, just so you know, we are recommending that you pay off that entire bond. Then we have the 2015 North bond. The majority of that bond is for the Road C fund. There is a minimal amount that the RDA will need to satisfy. On that bond, we are just recommending that we pay the RDA portion. One thing that I did find out today is that that bond is not actually callable until November of 25. So we won't be able to pay that off right now. But we can pay it off early and save the interest. It will just be, we can do it 90 days before November of 2025. So I have that being paid off in this scenario, but just so you know, if we agree that this is the plan we want to go forward with, that one won't actually go, we won't send that out until November. We also have the $1.3 million for the Grantsville City Library, and then a total owed participation agreement for $1.9 for Kimball's. So that's all of the outstanding debt. It's about $7,095,000. So what we are proposing is that I've listed here for you what the current RDA fund balance is. We believe that we'll have an increase to that over the next 2 fiscal years. We are proposing that we pay off this 2012 TATC bond. If we pay that off now, you can save about $570,000, just over that, almost $571,000 in interest. You do have that amount in the fund balance, and so if you pay it off now, you can save that interest. Otherwise, we would just reserve those funds and we would pay it as those payments come due through the RDA. Then we have the $121,000, which is for the 2015, which, like I said, won't actually be paid until November of 2025, but that is the RDA's debt that will need to be satisfied. And then the other two that I talked about. And then, as you can see, if we pay all of those, you will have about $3.8 million left that we will need to discuss and see what projects and that you would like to spend those on. So like I said, below, we do have the $570,000 in interest savings. That $70,000, that amount will change a little bit because we'll have to wait 1 more year. So that'll come down a little bit as we pay interest for this fiscal year. And then I just listed here on the bottom to show you what that saves going forward. The general fund, it will save them $99,000 a year. The park impact fund, $50,000. That was for their share that they were paying on the swim pool. And then the Road C fund would save $662,746. So is there any questions or anything with those?
So I know there was discussion about the Grantsville City Library, if we could pay that off
we can pay that off now, or because we're paying Grantsville?
Yeah, and I
Annually,
spoke with
right?
Grantsville City. They don't have the funds to pay off their share, to pay off early. So what we would do is actually put this in a reserve so that we would continue earning interest. But the RDA, we will set
Right.
aside those funds because it's obligated already to pay that long-term debt. So we will just continue earning our interest and paying our annual payment unless they ever decide that they would like to pay that off. Or we could make some kind of other arrangements where we could
Just give them.
pay it and have them pay us the interest back rather than pay it to them. But right now, what we're proposing is to just hold it in reserve and continue. I mean, I think you're getting about 5.5% in your PTIF right now. So we would just continue earning the interest on that and making the payments until, but we can change that, of course, at any time.
Okay. And that's like 20, 30 something, right? That's paid off. It's
Yeah, and they are
Quite a
carrying
while.
that debt, so it also doesn't affect our bond ratings or our debt ratios. But that one, certainly we can change that at any time because we'll have those reserve funds to be able to take care of our obligation.
We discussed it several times at RDA board, executive board meetings, and just feel like we're in a really good position, like way better than we expected. A really good position to free up this money from all of these budgets, which will be really helpful for the city. But we also feel like it's really important to continue to fund economic development. We know that economic development comes at a cost up front. And we've really shied away from any sort of tax increment financing, but we do oftentimes have to help with infrastructure or, other needs like that in order to get these larger businesses here, which is what we want because that increases our tax base. So we wanted to make sure that we can pay all this off, but still have money in the RDA so that we can continue to fund economic development. And we'll have to, going forward, make sure that we continue to put a focus on that so we have money available to do that. But I think this will really help, especially like in the road C funds and the general fund to free up the money.
So with the RDA sunsetting, do we have to create someplace else to move the money to? Or can it just stay in that same fund?
Well, for now, it will stay in there.
We got 2 years or whatever, right?
Yeah, so I just found out today you have about 5 years to spend that down after it's sunsetted. So we'll need to
Okay.
talk about that, but we haven't even talked to Marisa about that. That's just news I just barely got this afternoon. So you either need to spend it or encumber it. So we have
Right.
time, but we need to come up with a plan of how we want to spend those funds. And we all know that we have more projects than that's needed than that. I mean, this isn't like this is extra money, right? We have significant needs.
We have way too much money.
Yeah, and so
Yeah,
it
right.
will just be prioritizing what needs you have and then encumbering those for those projects, whatever the RDA's priorities are.
And we have them coming.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
Council, I just want to take this opportunity to let you know that when I first came into office in 2018 and really learned about the income with the RDA, that it was going to end, and the enormous amount of debt that was owed, this would have been placed back on our taxpayers that go into the general fund. That's where we were going to have to make this payment to pay these off when this RDA ended. One good thing came out of COVID is that we were able to extend it 2 more years. But the best part of what happened really was Jared. We hired Jared to be an economic development coordinator, just someone to help Shiloh and I keep this going. And when he began working for us, he very much surprised us that all of the things that he could do and would do, and he was not afraid of anything. If he didn't know how to do it, he learned. And he made an enormous amount of things happen for us. So I know there's a lot of people involved, but Jared, we'll miss him. And not just his work ethic, his sense of humor, and literally his attitude has never, not one time have I ever seen negativity. I see it on my hand quite often, and he will turn it around because he sees the good in everything, everybody. And so we're going to miss him, but we know he's moving on to a place that he will be able to help us more and continue to help us. So we've just asked him, please do not block our phone calls or our texts, because we might be calling a lot for a little while. But we are very grateful for all of the things that he has done for our city, and we appreciate his commitment to us.
And go ahead, I'm sorry. I was going to say, I have to say, now when I go and visit the mayor, at least I can feel confident that it's going to be at least a piece of candy there.
I was gonna say we could order less pizza, but I wasn't gonna bring it up. But you went there first, Dave, so. But no, we did have an analysis done on this just a few years ago, and I actually spoke with them today. They were just as shocked, I think, as we were as we started going through this, because the RDA has done very well in the last few years, and the 2-year extension also helped, but it has turned it around for us because we didn't know what we were going to do, but it was dire when we had that original study done, and that was only just a few years ago, and now we'll be able to take care of all of their obligations without passing any of that back on to the general fund. So it's very, very good news, and good job, Jared.
So is everybody comfortable with this, that we can bring it back for a vote?
Yeah, pay it.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll
Save
prepare
the
that.
interest, it only makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you, Shannon.
okay, appreciate it, thank you.
Okay, item number 4 are the invoices and purchase orders presented by Michelle Pitt, City Recorder. This is this economic development we're talking about.
Okay, there's just one invoice, and it is to Tooele City from the RDA for the RDA participation in construction of the fire station number 3 in the amount of $400,000.
Any concern, question about that? Otherwise, we need to approve the invoice.
I move that we approve the invoice.
So moved by Board Member Brady and seconded by Board Member McCall to approve the invoice. Board Member McCall, how do you vote?
Aye.
Board Member Hanson?
Aye.
Board Member Brady?
Aye.
Board Member Goches?
Aye.
And I am Board Member Manzio, and I also vote aye. One passes 5-0. Thank you, Michelle. And item number 5 is to adjourn. So we are adjourned.